You know, it's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm, resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now.
Candace Parker just said what every fan of Caitlin Clark has been yelling throughout the season. And the old guard in the WNBA did not want to hear it at all. And the league must pay attention, particularly the commissioner, because it has only grown worse. Despite our hopes that a new season would bring a different approach toward Caitlin and her admirers, the animosity is deeper, the envy is louder, and the double standards are more obvious than before. However, WNBA great Candace just intervened and made them all look stupid. It is only a matter of common sense. Comments that break through the clutter and provide context for the whole issue. Perhaps now they will take a moment to reflect because this is what this season has taught us. The league becomes louder and more self-destructive as Caitlin wins more. Let us examine what Candace stated since it may be the most subtle but powerful retaliation against the WNBA's sole guard and those who despise Caitlin Clark. First, however, enjoy this video. For the haters, each like is equivalent to one tissue. After what Candace stated, they will need it. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 93% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
Out of women's basketball for a horrible team when she arrived. Outside of LeBron and Steph, she is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States.
Oh, yes. And I don't think that's close.
The WNBA is now growing at an incredible rate. And Caitlin Clark is the reason behind it all. In athletics, it is the worst-kept secret. Not only is Caitlin Clark the most well-liked player in WNBA history, she is perhaps America's most well-liked athlete. Forget about it. The figures from the previous season are all known to us. TV ratings have reached a record high. Ticket sales have surged and merchandise is flying off the shelves. Every quantifiable statistic indicated a single indisputable fact. No one can shift the needle like Caitlin. She is already surpassing it this year. Record-breaking viewership and packed stadia. There is no slowing down of the Caitlin Clark effect.
It is the second highest viewership, which is like average viewership. However, it was the highest peak of any game ever on CBS.
The cost of tickets for Fever games without Caitlin fell by 300%. The rest of the league fell well behind, even if Fever supporters have held their own in TV ratings. I will talk about it in a few minutes. Everyone should take note of this. The league itself, players, coaches, and the front office. The WNBA anticipates that Caitlin Clark will bring in more than $1 billion this year alone. One thing follows from it. The WNBA might lose all of its momentum with just one severe injury to Caitlin Clark. I know you believe you have the upper hand, but without Caitlin, forget about those CBA monies Angel Rebel believes are coming and the new agreement Nafisa Collier claims the players have leverage for. Nevertheless, the league continues to shoot itself in the foot. They tie themselves into knots, acting as if it is something else. Rather than accepting the apparent reality about who is driving this expansion instead of acknowledging the progress, they continue to steer the conversation away from basketball.
And now that Caitlin Clark is injured, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
Even though the season is just a few games old, Caitlin and her supporters have already experienced facepal after facepal. The mayhem began after just one game. The league opened an investigation into alleged hate speech following the first game against the Sky, but the evidence was insufficient. But it was already too late. The headlines were stolen rather than honoring an amazing debut and a momentous occasion for the league. It had nothing to do with basketball. It had to do with controversy. Once more, Caitlin Clark and her supporters were drawn into a story that had nothing to do with the actual events that took place on the court.
You know, the loudest mics, like I stated, are the ones that's race baited. Not even bringing up the names, but all the people that I'm seeing that are tied within the WNBA media, coaches, all type of things. They are very resentful of Caitlin Clark, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense when you have somebody that's doing what she's doing for the WNBA.
The narrative that Caitlin Clark's fan base was hateful and that Indianapolis was not safe for players emerged from that mess. In fact, There were calls to postpone the All-Star game. Others were calling for Dave Porter's heckling of Angel Reese to result in an arena ban. In the meantime, the league has said nothing at all about the genuine animosity that Caitlyn and the Fever are facing. No words, no encouragement, nothing. We have gone far, far beyond the bounds. The things being said about the Fever players, especially Caitlyn, went far beyond just basketball. They weren't just criticisms of her game or her popularity. They were hateful and threatening.
You even though it's 100% false, by acknowledging we don't condone hate and not seeing that this was a internet rumor founded of complete bullshit, you're lending credence to this. There was none of...
These weren't just rude comments. They were legitimate threats. The kind of personal targeted attacks you'd expect the league, especially one that constantly touts its stance on hate and inclusion, to at least condemn. But instead, crickets, no statement, no defense, no support, and it only got worse. Now, we've reached the point where fans on X are actually accusing Caitlyn of using her assistant coach's baby as a prop.
Kind of stuff that's being said to them, the stuff that's being said to Kelsey Mitchell, the kind of things that are being said to Natasha Howard are actually wild. People have taken a photo of these women and circled a bullseye on them and have said, it's on site when I see you. Those are actual
That's right. They're attacking Caitlyn for holding a baby. That's the level of discourse we're dealing with. It's gone from criticism to conspiracy. And the league still has nothing to say. So, the hate toward Caitlyn and her fans, it's gone absolutely nowhere. If anything, it's only intensified. And even with all the numbers, all the sold-out games, all the record-breaking viewership, there's still resistance to acknowledging her impact. And it starts at the top.
Caitlin Clark is getting some of the grossest, most morbid comments, racist, hateful. We're talking the cup runneth over with hate. Here, Kathy Engelbert, you're no space for hate. Where are you right now?
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert even wrote a piece for the Harvard Business Review where she essentially bent over backwards to take credit and to spread that credit to everyone but the person actually driving the league's success. Coaches, players, marketing teams, front office strategy, you name it. She mentioned it. Everyone got a pat on the back, but there was virtually zero emphasis on Caitlin Clark.
The Engelbert, in this long, drawn-out article, goes on and gives herself credit for why the WNBA has finally entered some type of mainstream conversation.
She seriously diluted Caitlyn's impact more than a McDonald's fountain Coke. In the article, Engelbert lumped Caitlin Clark in with Angel Reese and Cameron Brink, writing that as these rookies entered the league, regular season games drew an average of 1.22 million viewers, up 170% from the previous season. But you know it, I know it, and your dog knows it. It was Caitlyn's games that averaged 1.2 million viewers. Yet, because the old guard cannot stand that Caitlyn is getting all the credit, there's a constant scramble to hand out gold stars to anyone but her.
New followers and outside observers, our organization's success might seem overnight and even lucky, prepared by a singularly exceptional group of college players coming into the WNBA. However, we could not have capitalized on those advantages without years of hard work and preparation. Years of hard work and preparation. It might have seemed like it came over.
But what we're seeing goes beyond that. For some reason, there's this need to knock Caitlyn down just to feel lifted up. And in way too many cases, people go straight to racism as the explanation for why she's getting all the attention. As if it has nothing to do with the fact that she shattered 62 WNBA records, became a first-team All-Star, ranked 4th in MVP voting, and dragged a bottom-dwelling team into the playoffs in her first year. It's wild because whether they want to admit it or not, what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the table is creating a better situation for everyone. When the spotlight is on her, it doesn't just stop there. It shines on the entire league.
Literally, they just can't. They just can't not even wrap their head around. They can't just accept, okay, this person is more popular than me. Or this person is more popular than the player that we want to push.
We've already had legends speak up about this, people who've actually built this league and understand what's at stake. Lisa Leasy, a Hall of Famer and one of the most respected voices in women's basketball. Basically, Mike dropped the entire WNBA when she called out the jealousy surrounding Caitlin Clark.
When they play in these arenas where there are 15 to 20,000 people in the stands, they are in front of people that they haven't been in front of before. That is an opportunity for all of us fans to get to know all the players on the court, all of the players in the WNBA, to pick new favorite players, to pick other teams that we want to follow.
But still, the pushback continues. The league once again needed some sense knocked into it. And it seems like that reality check can only come from the old guard, the legends who actually understand how rare this moment is. Well, Candace Parker is as old guard as it gets. A 3-time WNBA champion, a 2-time league MVP, and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She's one of the most decorated, respected, and intelligent players the WNBA has ever seen. And this week, she joined Stephen A. Smith on First Take to do what almost no one else in the league has had the courage to do. Address the elephant in the room.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television?
Now, Stephen A. Smith, credit where it's due, hasn't been reluctant to say it like it is. He's one of the few mainstream voices prepared to openly pronounce the term envy. He's seen it. Fans have seen it. Everyone watching the WNBA right now can feel it. And on First Take, he threw a logic bomb on Nifa Collier, who had voiced anger with Caitlin having more nationally televised games.
Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that there were an abundance of women in the WNBA doing tremendous work on behalf of the WNBA and the game of basketball, and you just sense that folks were feeling an absence of appreciation.
So, this wasn't some softball interview. This wasn't an atmosphere where there wouldn't be pushback, no avoiding, no fluff, simply right to the core of the matter.
This dude named Michael Jordan came along. And Michael Jordan came along and he wasn't yet winning championships, but his popularity was so astronomical that the NBA practically marketed everything they could around this guy. So to know that there's an example like that as a shining example to be followed that could benefit the league, particularly down the road, why is that an issue when we've seen that such a marketing plan has worked in the past?
But what we heard from Candace was one of the most calm, intelligent, and rational comments, yet the type of response that made Caitlin Clark fans worldwide exclaim, "Exactly."
Can you speak to that collective frustration that some may have been feeling, and whether or not you think it's something that's being overcome as you all thrive and move forward and continue to promote and uplift this league?
This was a Picasso of logic, a masterpiece in perspective, and there's more to come. But first, did you catch it? Candace said she gets asked so many times if she's resentful of Caitlin Clark. That one line says everything about how deep the jealousy runs in the WNBA. Think about that. Media players, insiders are going to one of the most decorated athletes in league history and asking if she's jealous of Caitlin Clark. It tells you everything you need to know. But Candace gave the right answer, the one that should be the standard. She said, "It's not about being jealous of who's next. It's about bringing the game to a position where it's ready for the next star. You don't have to minimize Caitlin. You don't have to pretend like her success is some fluke or deny the reality that she's lightning in a bottle. Instead, take pride in the fact that you created the platform and then help her because understand this, it is beneficial for everyone." Candace was not finished, but she made it clear that she was criticizing all the noise, particularly the racial talking points that have been subtly and occasionally overtly impeding Caitlin's ascent.
You know, it's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now. My job was to leave the game better than I came into it. You think Cheryl Miller is resentful for me that I had a league to play in? No, she's being the mentor that she is, and she's supporting and loving and sitting courtside cheering on Juju Watkins. And I'm doing the same for Caitlin Clark and all the women in the WNBA.
The Fever are still drawing big numbers even without Caitlin Clark. No, they're not Caitlin Clark numbers, but that's not the point. What it shows is the first phase of the Caitlin Clark effect. It's spreading first to the Fever and eventually, if the league is smart, to the entire WNBA, but you've got to give it time. This kind of cultural shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes years, and when done right, it lays the foundation for the next star, the one who will take it even further. Right now, we are in the most critical window of growth the WNBA has ever had, and the league needs to stop blowing it. That means celebrating the new fans, celebrating their star, and maybe most importantly, protecting her on the court. That means tightening up the officiating and making it at least fair. Because you can't let players take runs at your golden goose with zero consequences. The more players like Candace Parker who step up and speak out, the more this ecosystem, which is dangerously close to self-destructing, has a shot at stabilizing. The big question now is, will the league finally learn? Or will their Achilles heel, their inability to accept Caitlin Clark and the millions of fans she's brought with her, end up being the thing that holds them back forever? If you're still here, drop a goat in the comments because that's exactly what you are for sticking around. Thanks for watching. See you next.